Voltaire said, "Every man is a creature of the age in which he lives, and few are able to raise themselves above the ideas of the time." Plato said, "Wise men speak because they have something to say, fools because they have to say something." George Bernard Shaw thought that the reasonable man adapts himself to the world. The unreasonable one persists in trying to adapt the world to himself. Therefore, all progress depends on the unreasonable man. This is Whiskey Hell. Think critically. Act accordingly.
Saturday, the 28th of September, 8:01 p.m. A little bit later start in the evening, but we're here. Fitz, it's the end of a long week. An easy week as far as news goes. I didn't really get anything out of the ordinary other than just the normal stupidity. But well, I think we got plenty to talk about still.
For sure. We have some music playing in the background. Oh, there it goes. Yeah, I think the big story this week was clearly Helene, our hurricane friend. That I don't know, man. I mean, we can get into it later. We can get into the weeds of it, but I'm still shocked that people are as surprised by this as they are. I don't know shit about meteorology. I just follow the signs. And on Tuesday, I think I sent you guys that text in the chat of like, hey, get ready. This one's going to be a doozy. You're all going to get wet. And then people are shocked by dam failures and, historical flooding. And guess what? I'm going to call it right now. I'm calling my shot. There's another low forming in the Gulf of Mexico right now. It's going to hit probably the same area. So buckle your fucking seatbelts. It's going to be bad. And again, we can get into this more later, but for all you HARP tards out there who think that it's, HARP and they're making these storms to, decrease voter turnout for Trump, that's not how HARP works. Sorry. That's not how it makes things. It can make a storm worse, but it doesn't steer it. And like I said, people knew about this thing coming way back on Tuesday.
Well, and that's we'll get into it because I know there was a lot of talk about that and how it's got to be HARP. They're throwing now all the hurricanes come. It was amusing though. I did enjoy laughing, but there's way too many people latching onto that. That's just ridiculous. So we'll get into that a great deal. I promise that.
Now
we actually moved that one up on the dock. So
a caveat to that, I will say, if this next one steers left, if it heads west and it hits Texas, then I might maybe possibly entertain the idea that someone's creating these storms to take out red states. But I think that chance is pretty minimal. I think it's going to follow the same track that Helene did, and hopefully for the love of God, hopefully it's not as bad as Helene was. I mean, Helene I think made it ashore as a high 3, low 4, so it wasn't even as bad as it could have been. But my God, the rain, feet of rain. You're talking about feet of rain, and there's nowhere for it to go. It's just unbelievable. And it's still out there churning. I know the Grays have like 3 or 4 days more of this. I mean, it's like they're just getting started.
Yeah, it's definitely nasty. Missouri's getting plastered. Kentucky's getting plastered. Tennessee got absolutely hammered. We'll get into that stuff because there's a lot of just some amazing footage that we unfortunately got to see. So we'll definitely get into that. We have more from Ryan Routh. We talked about the second assassin last week. Well, there's more. Got to get into this one a little bit because this was very, very suspect, everything that broke down. in two different
Yeah.
ways. One, a manifesto comes out, and then his kid, who had just come out for him, is suddenly being arrested. So
Yeah.
that was a twist.
And not just arrested, but arrested for child porn, which now if he gets, shivved in prison, no one's going to be surprised. And then
No.
he never gets to talk.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Crazy
Unbelievable.
how that
Now
works.
that's a conspiracy. Yeah, that's a conspiracy I can get behind.
Yep.
Yeah.
We've got Diddy and Costco went to war this week.
I love this story so much. I loved the story. It tripled in its significance when Costco responded. I mean,
Oh,
I can't wait to get into that. Oh, so good.
Well, we're definitely going to get into that. We've got Eric Adams indicted. We've got a whistleblower going off. We've got Stacey Plasket being an absolute useless bag of wind. Some pretty scary stuff coming out of the Middle East too, which nobody's really talking about.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's
there's
quiet.
some stuff, but it's very quiet when it comes to what you would have expected with the amount of damage that's been done by Israel. So, and I think, what was it, the seventh? Was it the seventh carrier group? Which carrier group? One of them lost an oiler.
I think it was
an
the
oiler.
seventh. I ran aground. This is the United States modern day fucking Navy, and it ran aground.
Well, it was Drag Queen Day, and the really good navigator had business to take care of. So,
Yeah.
sorry.
No, I had about seven jokes that were gonna totally jump the line, so I just let it hang.
Just let me go ahead and torch the line.
I'm gonna leave that alone.
All right. Well, let's go ahead. Thank you, Beard. Navigation's really difficult with a furry mask on.
See, I like that. I was gonna go with the mascara running line. I was gonna go with something like, it's hard to navigate when the mascara's in your eye because you're crying because it's, your transition day. Okay, there, I said
exactly.
it. Now
There
we can
you
move
go.
on. Yeah, I feel better. I hope everyone else feels better too.
All right. Let's
God, we're
crack the
such
beers.
dicks, and I don't care. Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it.
What do you got over there?
Well, I've got a Block 15. That's all I know about it. It's Block 15 makes a lot of really great beer. Their fucking website sucks. Please, if somebody from Block 15 is or if you know someone that works at Block 15, please put something about your beer on your website. You are a brewery. We don't give a shit about your breweries. We give a shit about your beers. Please put something on your websites about your beers. Anyway,
It's really not good. It's just their pub locations, and that's it.
yeah, that's it. That's all you get. And their upcoming events. So anyway, it poured a nice, really clear, almost like an orange yellow. It's got there's like a fruitiness to it.
All right.
Very little head. It's not a cider. I mean, it's not that fruity. It's definitely a beer. But I don't know what we're gonna be putting in our mouths here. So let's give it a whirl. Plus, I'm sick. If you all can't tell from my ridiculous voice, so my orofactory is not working. Oh, not at all what I was expecting. This is a lager of some sort, an American lager, a very souped up, delicious version of a bud. Hold on.
Ah, okay.
My taste buds might be off here, but I'm getting a little bit of citrus, like an orange, like maybe it's an orange, like an orange blossom. Remember orange blossom from
Oh yeah.
Papago?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so like a orange flavored lager. Let's see what we got here. I'm unsheeting. I don't want all of you. I know you're all waiting with bated breath here. Oh, well, there you go.
Was it a
This is
wheat?
called kum. This is called kumo. It is a Japanese style rice lager. So
Ah.
I was right on the lager, and that's rice lagers do have that little bite at the end, just a little bit of extra. I don't know, a finger in the ass kind of. It's just a little extra. Just
What was the
I
name of
mean,
it?
kumo, Kumo, kumo. An incredibly dry, Japanese-inspired rice lager, Kumo features Northwest-grown Pilsner malt and vibrant Liberty hops. Crisp and easygoing, Kumo breezes through like a drifting cloud in the sky. 4.5%. So you all are going to get an extremely sober Fitz for the first half of the show,
Nice.
which
Nobody's
might
gonna know
not
what
be
to
a
do
good
with
thing.
themselves.
But yeah, exactly. And that everyone's going to go, Jesus Christ, he's sober and he said that joke. Yeah, I
Hmm.
am. That's my humor all the time. What do you got? What are you drinking?
All right, so I've got an Energy City beer, and I'm actually going to do two Energy Cities tonight. Both of them are going to be sours. Really, um, really intrigued
What?
by it. This one was Bistro. It's a spiced apple donuts.
Oh,
The unique thing about this is it's not just a sour; it's a Berliner Weiss.
oh,
Um, so yeah, it's pretty different. Pores
yeah.
thick as I'll post it to chat real quick. It is not a good looking beer. We'll just put it that way.
Okay.
It is tan. It's one of those beers that you have to pour upside down. You have to swash it around to get everything out of it. But man, does it smell like a spiced apple donut. And it tastes it. You can taste the dough, or not. You can't taste the dough. I don't know about that. I haven't tasted it yet, but you can smell the dough. You know how donuts just have that smell to them, the cakey ones. Man,
Yes.
lots of cinnamon. Definitely some apples in there. Oh, that is thick.
A thick Berliner Weiss. That's
Yep.
that's something. That's a unicorn you got right there. That's a unique beer.
It's a neat beer. It really really is. Very tasty. Good time of year for it too. Probably be even better like in late November, something along those lines. But really like this one. Very very good. All right. So beers are in,
Mhm.
and let's go to a Gallup poll right off the bat here.
Okay.
Gallup poll went out, and the interesting thing about this was that it was on global safety. We've been talking about this and how our streets aren't as safe as they used to be. People feel like they've got to, they're not gonna walk at night. They're gonna walk during the day, late morning. Just not. It's just not safe, especially in the city. We did end up putting a poll out for this, but it was interesting that Gallup went ahead and threw this up there. Um, Western countries really took a hit. In fact, when you look at the top 10, they're not anywhere on there. Um, your top countries that people feel safe in: Kuwait, 99% of the people who took this poll felt safe. Singapore, 94%. Norway, 92%. Saudi Arabia, 92%. Tajikistan, 92%. Slovenia, 91. United Arab Emirates, 90. El Salvador, 88. El Salvador is one of those countries that was never in there.
Yeah.
But they've
That's
seriously cleaned
surprised
things
me.
up.
That one surprised me. Slovenia surprised me. Um, and even honestly, Kuwait being number one. I mean, were they told to say that? You feel safe, say it. Um, because I think they're under Muslim rule right now, and I think I mean, and maybe that's why it's so fucking safe. Because if you do anything, you lose a hand or you lose an eyeball or something. Um, but yeah, a couple of these were pretty surprising. I think El Salvador for sure, because if you ask me what's happening in El Salvador, the first thing that comes to my mind is, drug cartel activity. Um, but apparently not.
Well, I think they've gone through one of the things I noticed on this list is you have countries, not all of them, but you definitely have some countries up there that have gone through a lot of turmoil and a lot of war, and they've come kind of back out the other side, and they're
Yeah,
doing exceptionally well.
yeah,
Almost like they had to go through that uncomfortable time period to kind of get back to where they are, or where they are now anyway. Um,
you know, one thing I was thinking about, in sort of in reference to this poll that Gallup put out, and then we put out our own poll, and I answered it for myself personally. Um, and this is what gave me pause. I feel safe, but also I feel safe pretty much anywhere. Just because I don't I made myself a promise a long time ago. I wasn't going to be scared anymore, so I did what it took to not be there. But after I answered that I do feel safe on my streets, I started putting in perspective. I would not feel I wouldn't want my wife to go walking in my city at night alone. I would not. And if I had children, and I think this is the big point I wanted to make is in the last 20-25 years, I mean, kids play outside, but there's adult supervision the entire time. Like it's not like it was when we were kids, dude. I
no,
mean, our parents would just be like, "Be back before dark," or just check in before dark, and then you can go back out. Um, I, I I mean, it's certainly not as safe as it was when we were kids, and we were out. I mean, we were the hoodlums. We were the ones that were a danger. We were the dicks. And now there's no way if I had a kid, there's no way I'd let him out of my sight. Not after 7 o'clock at night. No way. Crazy.
and I don't like the term helicopter parent, but I don't. I certainly was one. I
Yeah.
certainly was one with my boys, and I think they're okay. I think they've turned out all right.
Yeah, for
Because
sure.
you've got to give them some leeway. But yeah, I mean, they were 5 years old. They weren't going up to the park by themselves.
Right.
They probably didn't do that until they're 12, 13, something along those lines. So just very, very, very interesting. A lot of this actually comes from, do you have confidence in the community? Do you have confidence in the police? Is the police well funded? Things like that. We went ahead and put a poll up this week. We got 41, or was it 42? 41 votes. And it kind of, I think we've got, the big difference that I saw, I feel anyway, was we have a lot of listeners in California, the Midwest, and overseas. And our followers on X are kind of all over the place. But one of the things that I
Yeah.
noticed in some of the comments, at least, was that if you're in the country, you feel a lot safer. Period.
Hmm.
We've got a lot of comments that basically alluded to that. Horrible designs. Nope, I live in the suburbs of the Twin Cities. And then he posted, police in outer Twin Cities suburbs report burglaries and thefts. One city claims they are targeting affluent neighborhoods. Corey, nope, my 17-year-old daughter is a waitress at a Cracker Barrel, and they cash out tips at the end of her shift. So every night when she gets off, she has to walk to her car with large amounts of cash. Freaking scary.
Yeah.
Moose Lounge. I answered yes, but I'm also 6'10" and live in the country. I'd like to think my wife would answer yes also. I can say that I feel she's safer walking alone here than where we moved from. Porn Stash also, I live in a small city. Emphasis on a small and a quiet neighborhood. I'm fine walking around at night. I've done it on numerous occasions. I don't think I would live somewhere where I didn't feel comfortable doing that. If I don't feel safe, I definitely don't want my family there. So
That's a
really,
good point.
really, yeah. I mean, really, really, really good comments that we got
Yeah.
back.
Yeah.
Let's see, L. Been in the same house 20 years. Neighborhood has completely changed. I worry about my kids out at night alone. If I wanted to go out for a walk, I'd still feel safe doing so. And Lisa, I live in a rural area, so there's more danger from local wildlife or tripping hazards in the dark than people. Maybe if you wind up in someone's backyard. So I think I think there is something to it. I really do. And cities just, they're easy targets. They're really, really easy targets, and they're poorly funded, and they have poor management. Find me a big city that's not that people would feel good about being in. I think it's gonna be harder to find that than you are otherwise.
Yeah, and I think it's for sure a difference between living in a big city and the country. Eugene, Oregon is sort of one of those in between. Between Eugene and Springfield, we've got about 250,000, maybe 260. So we're not at that million, threshold yet, for sure. But we also have a huge homeless population here.
Right.
And with that comes, a lot of drugs, which, immediately, I mean, you put a really good person on meth, and they're not such a good person anymore. So that already shifts things. But then, along with that also comes the criminal behavior, the thefts. People are really locking down their houses a lot more in this neighborhood than they used to when we first moved here. So, those are some of the contributing factors that, if you have an open, if you provide services for homeless people, that comes with a cost. And that cost tends to be a rise in crime, a rise in vagrants sleeping in parks or in your fucking, backyard or whatever. And those can lead to some dangerous situations. So yeah, it's something here's the thing. I don't think it's going to get better in the next couple of years. I mean, maybe if Trump is elected and cities start to wake up and we start funding our police departments again, and we start funding these other organizations that can help, maybe it's not a police call, but hey, someone needs to come out here and help this homeless guy. Maybe we can turn it around. But right now, I don't see light at the end of this tunnel.
Well, then what happens after the election and nobody wants the illegals here anymore, right? Well,
absolutely.
We're done with your votes. You guys can get the hell out, or go hide, or go melt into the countryside. However you're going to go about it. I think that's okay. I think that's going to be a big problem.
I do too.
It's it's not getting better. I can tell you that much. Even though Kamala did go down to the border today or yesterday and made a very, very impactful visit.
Yeah, she did. I think the biggest story that came out of that is the Border Patrol, their union. They have been just lambasting her, just absolutely destroying her on X, and anything they can get their hands on. They, it's like, first time we've seen this bitch in 3.5 years. Like, are you serious? She's the border czar, and now that it's a photo op, now she's going to come out here. I mean, they have been pretty outspoken of not supporting her and her role.
And they were outspoken before too. They didn't like Biden at all either. So the fact that they've continued that on is heartening, I think.
Agreed. Agreed.
Vice President Harris asserted in Arizona that CBP needed more resources. We have apprehended over 8 million illegal immigrants over the last 4 years, and now you realize we need more help 38 days before the election. Fact check on Harris' speech in Douglas, Arizona. Today, Vice President Harris claimed that she played a role in increasing Border Patrol agent overtime pay. This couldn't be further from the truth. As with all things border related, she was nowhere to be found when we needed her. And it just continued on. Vice President Harris has ignored the border problems she created for over 3 years. She goes down there for 20 minutes for a photo op and decides to repeat some of the things that the NPBC has said before. But again, where has she been for the last 3.5 years? And they went viral, absolutely fucking viral on all of those tweets.
Yeah, which is also heartening. Hey, can I read something really quick? I thought this kind of summed up. I mean, it's this issue that she went to the border, but it just kind of sums up a lot of things. Also, very succinctly put. So we have an employee that we hired 3.5 years ago. She was given tasks, but completed none of them. She just had a performance review and failed it. So she backstabbed her elderly supervisor. Now she's demanding a promotion in November, but refuses to interview for the new position. She promises that if she gets the promotion, she'll do all of the tasks that she didn't do before, but she won't do them now in order to force us to give her the promotion. What should we do? Sincerely, the USA. That's fucking Kamala right there. And I mean, it's a comical way to put it. You know, so almost accurate. like a Dear Abby. Whoever wrote that, it's just brilliant, but it's so accurate. It's exactly what the fuck's happening. It's mindless that these people are like, Kamala all the way, Harris waltz, I'm all about it. What? Why? What in the history of Kamala Harris makes you think that she's going to do shit about shit? What? Just point to one thing. One thing she's been successful at, other than BJ's. That's off the table, because there's lots of women that are good at that. That doesn't make them qualified for president. I'm sure there's some guys that are really good at BJ's too, and that doesn't make them qualified for president. I need to know what she's done as a prosecutor, as a politician, you know, senator, as a vice president, as anything that makes you think she's going to be good at the role of president. And the problem is you can't point to anything, not one.
Nope. I can't. I seriously can't. And nothing that she said in any of her campaign promises. Yes, Lisa, besides the fact that she was raised in the middle class. Thank God she escaped from that.
She gets to fall back on that, doesn't she?
No, I'm not. Yeah, I'm not buying it. But I do want to get into. Sorry, go ahead.
No. All I was gonna say, and on the other side of that coin is, you know, President Trump. If you look at his record, he was literally a politician for 4 years, and there's a ton of shit you can point to that he did pretty well. I say what you want about him as a person, and it really becomes pretty irrelevant when you look at the economy, zero wars, even his initial response to COVID that I thought was laughable. Put in context, I'm actually.
It was actually pretty good.
It was actually pretty accurate. He got steamrolled by Fauci and the CDC. You know, I think he had trust in their capabilities, just like the rest of us did at first. But so literally, he had 4 years and he did a lot. Kamala has had how many years in public service and has done nothing. It's craziness to me. So anyway, next story. What do we got? Oh God.
Here's Mark Cuban. Cuban. I think Mark Cuban may be spiraling. Either they've got
he's got a mental disorder, dude. Yeah, something.
It's either that, it's blackmail, or he's seriously bought in and he's just bucking for a presidency run in 2028. I'm hanging my hat on that. And he's even acting sketchy enough that I think that may be what it is. But here's Mark Cuban on with CNBC.
Better off now than 4 years ago. I think that was illustrative.
Well, 4 years ago, literally, we're in a pandemic. It was an easy answer.
We can look at exactly what happened. He's already been president. And we can look at what happened when she was vice president. And it's not good, the comparison.
Being the president, Joe, as you know, is different than being vice president. It's not close, right?
So she can take credit for the good things that happened with Biden, but she didn't have anything to do with the bad things. Trump, when she was unable to answer.
Yeah. The look on Cuban's face was kind of creepy. I know you guys can't see it out there.
Yeah, was he wearing makeup? He kind of looked like an old vaudeville actor in that clip.
It looked a little bit like it.
Like he had a lot of rouge and then some lipstick to make him look dead, or not, or I don't know, to make him look alive when actually he is dead. I don't know. I'm not taking your 2028 presidential bid off the table. I am sort of calling Manchurian Candidate / MK Ultra on him, because he's a fucking whack job. He's not a sane person. When you see him talking, he's not sane.
Well, here he is with Colbert doing stand-up, apparently.
You're shiny, orange, and empty inside. I'd say you're a traffic cone, but I would swerve to avoid a traffic curve.
Oh, that's gonna leave a mark, Cuban.
Donald, do you know that to be a billionaire, you have to have the billion part in your bank account, not just the air?
John, you just fell into the shark tank.
Donald, I know you have no shot with Hispanics, because there's no way in hell you're getting the Cuban vote. Donald, the only way you're worth 10 billion is if I paid you $9.5 billion to wash my balls.
God, I really want to be in a room alone with him. No cameras. Just I mean
That's not even the best part of this week, though.
not even like 90 seconds. Like, I want hours with him. Can I say that? Like,
Yeah.
I'm not a violent person, but he brings something out in me. The alpha in me comes out when I see his fucking face. Anyway, yeah, you're right. It's not the best one. He went off this week. What the hell was he doing? He was doing the circuit, wasn't he? Yeah.
Oh yeah. Here's a little bit more of him on CNBC.
Channel. Who are the most watched and viewed and listened to podcasts? Who are the most watched and listened to? Or
Is it
viewed?
Fox?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
I mean, it's not close, right? The number one shows are all Fox. The number one podcast,
So
lean right.
even in
The
spite of that, she's been able to.
Not in spite of that, in spite of that, meaning the mainstream media is not who you think it is. The mainstream media truly leans right.
Maybe.
What's the most watched?
So he's claiming the mainstream media now leans right. This was his most bizarre take of the week.
I guess my question back to Marky Cuban would be, so you have a Joe Rogan who's out there, and it's funny that again, we've talked about this repeatedly on the show. It's funny that Joe Rogan is considered right wing because he's always voted Democrat. He's talked about that many times. He's been a hardcore Democrat. His parents were very liberal. They grew up in San Francisco, at least for part of his childhood. He was born in Boston area, but they moved to San Fran. And so, they're liberal Californians, and he's always voted Democrat, but he is now being considered a very conservative right-wing person. And yet, you know what, Marky? Why is he getting 11 million listens a week? 11 million listens a show, and he does 3 or 4 shows a week. He's not putting spin on anything. He's a truly curious person who wants to know more. That's what people are attracted to. So it's not Fox News. It's not CNN. Nobody gives a shit about. I mean, the ratings on both of those are so abysmal. It's not even funny. I mean, there are I think the 5th or 6th highest rated podcast in the country is doing better than Fox News, which is Fox News is outpacing CNN by like 6-fold. So it's not even like they're advertising for this shit. Word's just out. This is what we want to hear. These are the conversations we want to have, that we want to hear people having. We don't want to hear your dribble. But he's not going to see that. He's going to think that it's right leaning which means what? Which means what? If it's right leaning and it's getting that many views, that means that's what people want. Catch a fucking clue, dude.
It's very strange. I still think he's I think he's up to something. Everybody knows he's after an SEC spot.
Oh,
and after this week, with the crazy eyes and stuff, I don't think I want him anywhere near anything. Which sucks because I always dug the guy before, like, probably, well, maybe this year, really. Then he started acting flaky. He ditched his managing ownership of the Mavericks, and he started doing some weird stuff. And that's when we said, a few months back that, well, maybe he's going to make a run. This was back before Biden was definitely in. I don't know, just very, very odd. And to say that the legacy media leans right is that's just asinine.
Yep, he's a moron, certifiable.
All right, let's get into Hurricane Helena. I know we've got Jefe coming up here, but we do want to get into this. This was just something else. This was an absolute beast, Fitz.
Yeah, and again, predictable. It's not like it popped up out of nowhere. If it would have popped up out of nowhere, then the HARP argument would be, I would at least entertain it. But it didn't. You could watch it forming off of the northeastern tip of South America, come up and start to gain strength as it hit the Yucatan Peninsula. And then once it hit those warm waters in the Gulf, which, again, warm water feeds these storms, and there was zero wind shear. There was nothing to stop this thing from growing. And sometimes, and this is evidenced here in this case, it's not, because hurricanes are judged by wind speed, right? The higher the wind speed, the higher the category. Sometimes it's not. The wind speed is not the thing that does the most devastation. It's all the water. It's the storm surge and then the torrential downpour for hours and hours and hours on end. And that's what happened here. The pictures out of Treasure Island, Florida are just insane. The video, you got boats that are a mile and a half inland. They got picked up by the storm surge and then just dropped in people's yards. It's nuts. And then, just it also, so one thing that's not being talked about, which surprises me, there's a couple meteorologists out there that I follow who were talking about this, but it hit the Big Bend in Florida. And then when it got inland, when it hit Atlanta, there was another low pressure system moving in from the west that came in and merged with it, which is why the thing swelled over land. It swelled again. It got even bigger again because that other low pressure system soaked up all that moisture from, is it Helena? I don't know. I thought it was Helene, but whatever, from the hurricane, and they combined powers. And that's why you're going to get rain for the next 3 to 4 days in Kentucky, Illinois, Indiana. I mean, all the Midwest up there is just going to get soaked, just like North Carolina and Tennessee did. And again, all highly predictable. Nothing surprising about this storm at all if you've been paying attention. The people that weren't paying attention are the ones that are taking these ridiculous videos of their fucking living room being flooded. Oh my God, I can't believe it. You're an idiot then. You should believe it. At least he has his fucking attic open so he can get up there. First of all, I know I last count I heard there was 32 confirmed deaths with hundreds still missing. So that's there's going to be a human toll for sure. The property damage, the fucking insurance rates. Oh God. I can't imagine you're not going to, it's going to be like California. You're not going to be able to afford to buy a house in Florida because of the insurance alone. You're going to buy $100,000 house and you're going to be paying $50,000 in insurance every year because of shit like this. Unbelievable. Crazy.
You know, I was watching. I can't remember the X profile. It was it's something Zillow. Look up Florida Zillow, something like that. If you guys want to look at it, property values were just dropping like a rock too, throughout most of Florida, especially the Panhandle. You had properties that were going for $700,000, $800,000, $900,000, and owners were having to cut off, half of that. So I can't imagine what's going to happen after this comes through. Yeah. The video coming out of Rutherford County, North Carolina, is ridiculous. Tennessee, what was the dam that broke?
Oh yeah. Yeah, and what day was that? I mean, I guess we could go back on our chat, but what day was that I sent that text to the chat of like, we're looking at biblical levels of like, this is a once in a century storm. And I mean, the last one happened in 1916. That's when this area got this kind of flooding, was 1916. So guess what, guys? We're overdue. It's not like this should be a surprise. Once in a century means once every 100 years. We were overdue. So here it is.
So the HAARP angle was, I don't know really what spurred that on, other than we had some folks that were really going after the conspiracy theories and cranky. This was supposed to be this was supposed to be a bad hurricane season.
Right.
And it had been almost dead up until this past week. So just blowing off what it was supposed to have been like, and then coming out, well, it's got to be HAARP, blah, 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 blah. That just really bothered me that was even on the radar. But I guess that goes along with the season that we're in.
Yep. Well, and so remember our discussion that we had about, the Beaufort Gyre, and it released a lot of cold water into the Atlantic.
Right.
One of the repercussions of that, one of the consequences of that, is that all that cold water pushes in from the North Atlantic, and it pushes all the warm water into coves. What is the Gulf of Mexico? It is a large, extremely large cove. So all that warm water just goes, oh, well, we can find a home here, and it's just sitting there. So yeah, any storm that goes through the Gulf of Mexico right now is going to grow. It's going to be scary. It's going to be a big one. There's no surprises to it. And again, I'm telling you right now, I looked at the 10-day GFS. There is a low already forming almost in the exact same spot that this last one that Helena formed in. So if it follows a similar track, don't be surprised. That area is going to get hit again. And it's going to be another bad one because there's a lot of moisture and a lot of energy to soak up from that warm water. I think this will be the last one of the season, but don't bet
quote you
on that. Yeah, don't quote me on that, because I could definitely be wrong.
We have a Jefe. We had a Jefe.
Do we?
Do we? He left.
I did not see a Jefe. Where is the Jefe?
What the hell? He was there. Wait. There he is. Hey, Jefe.
What's up?
There's a Jefe.
Not much, man. How are you?
I'm okay.
Yeah. Did you write your name on any appendages in case you get swept away in a hurricane?
No. Nah, they'll know.
Okay.
Yeah, of course they'll know. Who has a schlong like that? They'll be like, my God, that's a horse dick. Yeah, of course that's Jefe.
Of course.
A horse is a horse. Of course.
So, Fitz, were you talking about this mass that's down below Aruba?
Yes, that's exactly it.
Okay. Aruba, Venezuela.
Yep, and it's tracking north. And it's, again, same exact path. It's going to go right across the Yucatan Peninsula, right across Belize, which, by the way, my honeymoon spot where my wife and I went and took our honeymoon was in Belize, actually off the coast of Belize in Key Calker. They got absolutely devastated. I think the hotel that we were staying in is gone. It's nobody's talking about what happened in the Yucatan Peninsula, but they got fucking hammered too. So yeah, I think it's gone. So next time we go there, we will not be able to stay where we did stay. Crazy.
You can stay at the spot, like where it was. Just camp out.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Just bring a tent. That'll be romantic.
Yeah.
Jefe, what's the 411 at the casino tonight? Who's jiving on the floor, man?
Well, we have some kind of a Hispanic music cover band going. So there's a lot of spicy on the floor out there. Let me tell you.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Now, is it the kind of spicy that really enjoys showing off cleavage, or is the kind of spicy that gets sloppy drunk and has too much makeup on?
Yes.
All the above.
Perfect. That's gonna be a good night then.
We'll see. I just want to make money.
I also want that for you. I want that for all of us, really. But I definitely want that for you. Money's good. Pills are good.
Pills are good.
Pills are good.
Hey, Jefe, we were talking about you have a long sports career, given your history. What are your thoughts on Mark Cuban? Because Aaron brought up a good point. He didn't start going crazy until this week. He may be on a Diddy tape.
It's true.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Something's going on with that guy. Like the most normal he looks is on Shark Tank. And now he's out on the news shows going cuckoo.
Cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs for sure. Oh, that's the new line. Cuckoo for Kamala Puffs.
Oh. Yikes. Hey, Sean Diddy Combs' lawyer came out this week and said that it was Costco's fault that Diddy had 1,000 bottles of baby oil.
I love this so much. Okay, so here's what I pictured. The lawyer's at home, right? And he's taking a shit. He's sitting on his toilet. He's taking a shit and he's scrolling through social media and he's like, how am I gonna spin this? How can I make my client look better in the public view? And then it just hit him like a bolt out of heaven.
It's Costco.
Fucking Kirkland and their fucking baby oil are going down for this. And Costco responds and they're like, we don't sell baby oil at any of our locations. Not one.
Thank you for coming to our TED Talk.
Thank you. Yeah. Oh, it's so good. You know what? Costco could have just let it sit, right? They could have just been like, whatever. Yeah.
No.
But I love that they came out and they were like, absolutely not. We don't sell that shit here. So fuck off.
Bringing them
Oh, God.
Jefe, you buy fuck water in bulk, though. How many do you have at home?
They don't sell it in bulk. Maybe at Costco they do.
I was going to say, do they have it at Costco?
I doubt it. That'd be hilarious to see on the shelf. It's fuck water.
This is a family establishment, goddammit. Yeah, well, people need their fuck water.
I'm going to go into Costco now and go to the front desk and be like, you guys sell fuck water? And they get, no, look, it really.
Me? Hey, bring a bottle with you. Like, pull it out of your back pocket.
Yeah.
Look,
Hey,
it's empty.
I carry it with me everywhere.
I'm running low, man. Come on.
You just got it in a fanny pack that you carry around with you?
Yes.
Just whip it out. Hey, I got this.
Dude, I mean, I know the internet always wins, but really, all of you overachieved. All of you overachieved on the Diddy memes this week. They were so good.
Oh, they're fantastic.
You could have sent 100 of them. Each of us could have sent 100 of them, and they would have all been funny. They were great. Unbelievable. And I why now? I guess that's the question. Why now? You have to ask yourself, because remember, this shit's been talked about since, I want to say, 07, 06, that there were other rappers coming out and saying that Diddy had something to do with Tupac, that Diddy even had something to do with Biggie.
Yep.
That he had something to do with sex trafficking, that his what are his parties called? Fuck offs or freak offs? Yeah. That his freak offs were getting like people in trouble, and they were kind of getting them. He had blackmail on people. We've been hearing this shit for a long time.
Well,
why now?
And it heated up over the last like 4 months. And then all of a sudden, right after, and okay, this is conspiracy theory completely all the way. We talked about this last week. Trump, the assassination failed. 23andMe came out, and their whole board disappears.
Yeah.
Okay, after the hacking.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden, he gets dropped. Those were two massive stories that have pretty much been buried. If it hadn't been for Routh and his kid popping up because he's into child porn now, that you wouldn't hear anything about this anymore. So why now? It makes you wonder if this isn't, well, we're going to go and we're going to sacrifice a bunch of celebrities now.
Yeah.
Who do you guys want to be on that list?
Well, we're going to get into this later, but definitely Ellen DeGeneres. I want her on.
Please, I hope so. Yes.
Yeah.
Ellen. Yep. Okay.
I mean, it's been well documented what a cunt she is to all of her staff. So she's a terrible human. She needs to go down. Oprah for sure. And I'm not just targeting women, but I'm just saying like those two people are awful people. I'd like the Obamas to be on there.
Okay. And those are two guys. So.
Right. Now I'm going towards the men. LeBron, the Obamas, Michael, and Barack.
Mm-hmm.
What about you, Jefe?
What about you?
Just because it rhymes with Barack, The Rock.
Whoa. All right.
Okay.
All right.
You know, people were talking about him running for president at one point, and now he's like quiet as fuck.
Yep.
He's like laying low.
Well, after he fucked up the whole business with Hawaii.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, he got the hell out of the way.
All right. This hurts me to say, but I want Colbert to be on the list.
Oh, that's a good one.
Colbert.
I want Jay-Z on there and Beyonce.
Yeah, me too.
John Legend.
I was a Jay-Z fan. Yeah, John Legend and his fucking cunt wife too. What's her name?
Chrissy Teigen.
Thank you.
I'm sorry I knew that.
Oh, I know. It would have come to me eventually. I've never liked that couple. Who else is terrible? You know what's funny? So this is sort of off topic, but it's also definitely Kamala. Well, hold on. Before I get to that discussion, I really hope Montel Williams is not on that list. I always liked him. I would fuck with Montel.
I'm gonna say he may have faded before those parties got going.
Yeah,
he might not have been
so.
important enough to go.
You know, little known fact. You know, he was in the naval intelligence. He was NIS.
What?
He had a distinguished, is how it's been worded, distinguished career in NIS, and then he got out of the military and government service and got into a little bit of acting and then the TV show. But I think because he knew that stuff from the NIS, I think he distanced himself real quick. Like, that's a fucking hot potato I ain't touching.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, he's legit. Anyway, I hope he, just dropped Kamala like a bad habit. Anyway, it's funny. I listened to the Joe Rogan interview with Russell Crowe, and I'll make this quick, Jefe, because I know you got to go. But And we've always heard Russell Crowe's just a dick, and he's hard on set, and he's hard to be around, and he's a weird guy. And then you listen to him, and it's like, no, he's an actual down to earth guy who's not with the fucking Hollywood program. And so they smear him. They badmouth him. They make him look like shit when really he is like the coolest motherfucker out there. He is really down to earth, a great interview, fun guy. I would love to hang around with him. He's just like your just down to earth typical Australian who owns like 300 acres or something. He's got a ranch out there and he fucking farms. He grows all of his own meat, and it's just, he's a cool dude. And so it's like the people you hear about that are fucking awesome and cool, they're actually the pieces of shit. And the ones you hear are dicks and they get smeared, they're the ones that are, who you really want as your neighbor.
That seriously does sound like that's how it works out.
That tracks.
All right, I'll be back in an hour.
All right, Jefe, we'll
we
see
have
you
a farm report?
Yes, I do.
Hey, yes.
Yeah.
It's going to be worth it. All right, man. See you in a bit.
Yeah.
All right. So, yeah, the whole Diddy thing, I want it to blow up. I want it to get absolutely, I want names. I want it to be, even if they go ahead and make an example out of this, just to divert people away from the Epstein list that nobody's ever going to give out, I would be okay with at least getting a whole bunch of names. You tell me the Kardashians are on there and they're into trafficking, that would be fantastic. Yeah. That would make my day.
It wouldn't be fantastic, but at least we'd, be able to get them off the fucking street. I hear what you're saying for sure. And no, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, but the problem that it's going to run into is all these people are going to be done away with, right? Their careers are going to be over. And the problem is still going to be there. There's still going to be Epstein types, Diddy types out there that are still going to be moving in the same circles, doing the same things, and it's not going to change a fucking thing.
Well, I mean, that's the problem, isn't it? I mean, that's, the concept of the Hydra. You cut one head off and two more grow back. It's a monster that will always be there. But what could combat it is throw more people at it, throw more focus on it, shine the light in those dark corners of society. I'm not saying you're going to be able to shine a light in every dark corner, but hey, if we turn some lights on in the house, there's fewer dark corners. I don't know why that's not being done. And I'm with you, man. 100%. I hope that this is, someone walking in a room and turning on a light. It might not be the biggest room in the house, but at least there's lights on in this room now.
How'd that beer do for you?
Dude, it's gone. I mean, I basically treated it like a Gatorade. It rehydrated me. Okay. It was good though. Honestly, like I said, a very well done, very tasty Bud or a Bud Light. But I'm gonna retract that. It's got way more flavor than that, way more depth. I mean, this is what beer probably was like back in the 1800s. This is a very pure recipe, very pure brewed beer. Really, I enjoyed it, actually. Great summer beer, especially after all the work I did today. It was a nice way to kick off. How about you?
Very, very good. Very for a sour, it was very much a decadent dessert type beer. So kind of weird in that respect, but it definitely held true from the very first drink to the very end. It was very much a donut. It was spiced apple. It was just very consistent, not overly done either. Like it wasn't, and for as thick as I know what you guys saw in the pictures, it wasn't sickening. It definitely had, some viscosity to it, but it was pleasant though. And not a lot of lactose, which is a real risk with a lot of these sours that when they try to do some funky stuff with it. So I liked it. It was well executed.
Nice.
All right. We are going to cut it for beer 2. We'll be back with you guys in just a minute. Beer 2. Fitz, how about pineapple strawberry habanero? What does that do for you?
Oh, that sounds intriguing.
This is another Energy City.
Yeah.
And it's another Berliner Weiss style. Big,
interesting.
Thick. I'll post the picture of this one into chat too, so that you guys can see the difference between them.
So interesting what they're... Look, if you think beer compares to anything else, you're wrong. They can literally do anything with any beer ever. It's amazing. This is wild. You have 2 unicorns, dude.
Yeah, also the other thing about this was they were reasonable too. Like $6 a beer. And they were we're talking the bigger cans too, so the 1.5 pints, I think is what they are.
Yep.
So
yep.
But yeah, so I posted the picture to the whiskey chat. This is Bistro Pineapple Strawberry Habanero. Kind of I think it definitely has the pink shade for the strawberry, but it kind of washes out with a little bit of a pineapple, that little yellow bit that kind of overpowers it.
Okay.
Oh, that's wild. Okay. I want you to think of a strawberry daiquiri. And then but you're biting into a pineapple, a fresh piece of pineapple. So you know how it's kind of sinewy?
Yeah.
Juicy, sinewy, the texture's kind of crazy. Imagine that, and then at the very end, after you get through this pleasant pineapple strawberry, just almost a daiquiri. It's really close to a daiquiri. You get habanero on the back end. It's not overpowering either. It just completely, it's 2 different beers. It's 2 completely different experiences in one beer. Very interesting.
Damn, dude. I mean, I was intrigued by your first beer. I'm really intrigued now. I've never heard of Energy City. I know they're in the Midwest somewhere, Illinois or something.
I need to look.
But
up.
I mean,
remember.
I've never. We don't get any of their stuff here, so I've never had one of their beers. Sounds like they're doing some incredible shit though. Like that's fun.
And it's not like Drecker level crazy.
Right.
It's very basic flavors. They're not trying to be nutty. They're not trying to be goofy. It's just very basic flavors and a well-executed beer. Really, really digging it.
Yeah, but in some interesting combos. Like I mean, I'm sorry. I would never think to like, take a bite of pineapple and then have a little bit of, jalapeno on the end of it. But also, now that I'm saying it, it sounds delicious. Like next time I get a pineapple, and ham pizza or pineapple and pepperoni pizza, I might put some jalapenos on there.
Yeah.
That sounds
very
good.
Interesting. Not overpowering, and it's a pure, like last week's extract bullshit that I ran into.
Yeah.
This isn't it, right? These are all well executed flavors. It's all fresh ingredients. It is a true. It's really, really good. Really good. I know you're going to be out here next week. I will make sure that I stop by and grab a few more of these for you, so you can take a run at them while you're out here. It's totally going to be.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I'm I have a wild week ahead, man. The last year has been this like, there's these big events, these big life-changing events in my future. And it always seemed like it was, 12 months off. Oh, it's still 6 months off. I still got 3 months. And now that it's here, I got past one big hurdle at work. And again, with a lot of help from a lot of very talented, amazing people, it went off. It could not have gone off better. I mean, period. I don't know how else to say it. It was smooth and beautiful. And I have been excited to be a part of it. I have one more hurdle to get over, and I'm just hoping that this one goes as smoothly, because I'm moving my mom up here. and it's a big deal. She's been in the Valley since I think 62.
Wow.
So yeah, she's 62 years of being in one place. And so she's excited for the change, but there's a lot that goes into making that transition happen. So anyway, my point to all that is we're driving back up here, so I'm planning on bringing some beer with me. I don't have to pack it in a suitcase. I'm driving it up.
Good. All right.
So yeah, let's
Challenge accepted.
I was gonna say whatever we gotta do to make that happen. Let's fucking do it. And I got cash to burn, so let's do it.
All right, we will definitely go hunting while you're out here.
All right, excellent.
All right, what do you got there?
Last week I featured a Ex Novo beer for my second beer. And I actually bought 3 Ex Novos. One of them is not going to make the show because I kind of blew my wad and I had to drink it. I couldn't save it.
Had to happen.
And I was not disappointed. So huge props is going out to Ex Novo. Last week's beer was tremendous. The one I had on Thursday night was wow. And then now I'm having my third one tonight. This is actually, they do this one every year. I don't know how many years they've been doing it, but I've seen this one at least the past 3 or 4 years. This one is their Kill the Sun, and it is a Grand Cru Imperial Stout. And they age this one in bourbon barrels, minimum of 12 months. I think this one was aged 18 months. But it's a 13.8%er. And it's called Kill the Sun, which, by the way, it's a beautiful can because the entire thing is just jet black with these, if you put it in just the right light, they've actually got stuff in the black. But then you have this gold sword going through the sun. And it's a beautiful beer, or a beautiful can. But Kill the Sun, if you could make enough of this stuff and shoot it at the sun, I have no doubt you could kill the sun with this. It is jet black, 0 head. I mean, we talk about beer pouring like motor oil. This poured like molasses in January. And on top of it, it's jet black. It's thick. This thing's got it kind of reminds me of that Faro viscous fluid, that has iron in it, and they can make it kind of move, and it's like, right out of a fucking Marvel, it's like Venom, I'm expecting this thing to jump on my face and eat me. But also I can't wait to have a sip. But it's definitely got a life of its own. Holy cow. I just took a sniff, and even with my nose being in the condition it's in, this is boozy. Boozy. You get the barrel, or the bourbon barrel up front. I'm sensing a little bit of chocolate in there, but I don't know. Let's take a sip here.
Pretty cool website. You guys can go to Ex Novo beer.
Oh, McShane.
Oh,
McShane.
walk us through it.
Oh. First of all, cue the music.
Okay, I got it.
Holy crap. Okay, not yet. Let me. Heavy mouthfeel, but it is the most pleasant sip of bourbon you've ever had, with a chocolate coffee chaser.
Wow.
That's what I'm getting here. Beautiful beer. Oh, big, bold. She is definitely going home with me tonight. This is definitely a sex beer. I'm calling it.
Oh my God! I'm sorry! I can't stop coming! I'm sorry! Oh, it feels so good!
Yes! Thank you. Huge shout out to Porn Stash for the modification to my sex beer. That's been a long time coming. He added that a while back, and I didn't know how to pull the file, so I'm glad you got it. Yeah,
we worked it out. It was good.
That's so great. I love it. Anyway, that's my new sex beer. And I did not force this one. This is truly a sex beer. This is a fucking Egyptian goddess of a beer. This is Cleopatra in a glass. Unbelievable.
Cleopatra in a glass.
Yeah.
That, you know what? That might be the name for a show. We're going to work on that one.
We'll see. You never know. I might say some other cool shit, but that's what this beer is. Just unbelievable. Although I think Cleopatra was Macedonian, but we're not going to split hairs here. She was darker than me, okay? She was darker than me.
All right. Here, this kind of pissed me off. Let's where is it here?
Oh, goody.
Here we go. Here's the FCC, one of the FCC chairs.
Oh, yeah.
You've indicated there's a transaction where a Soros-backed group would take ownership of over 200 radio stations across 40 different markets after the FCC originally indicating that transaction could be reviewed and approved at the bureau level without a commission vote. It's now become clear that is a decision before the full commission, and it's one that I would assume now or in the near future the commission would approve. I think what's interesting about it is that the FCC here is not following its normal process for reviewing a transaction. We have established over a number of years one way in which you can get approval from the FCC when you have in excess of 25% foreign ownership, which this transaction does. And it seems to me that the FCC is poised to create, for the first time, an entirely new shortcut.
Yeah, thank you. As you pointed out here and previously, these proceedings for transfer of ownership have been expedited. What exactly makes this case so deserving of an expedited proceeding so far, from what you could tell?
There is nothing about this transaction that is out of the ordinary. It's the type of thing that we see all the time, and the FCC has a process for this. The full commission itself has never signed off on a shortcut like this. What we usually do is we require people to file a petition with us. We bring in national security agencies. They can review the foreign ownership. It's probably no big deal here, but we review that foreign ownership, and then we vote. Here, they're trying to do something that's never been done before at the commission level.
So the setup is that George Soros is trying to buy 220 radio stations that reach about 165 million Americans right before the election goes into play.
And they rushed it.
They
rushed the approval. Yeah.
This is the bullshit that comes along with this need to have government, and then, well, there's too much for the government to handle, so we're going to go ahead and let some of the little I almost said clubs, the little boards and the little groups within the establishment to go ahead and make the decisions for everybody. Taking the actual democracy part out of it, making sure that stuff isn't seen by the public, things like this get rushed through. This was ridiculous.
It was ridiculous, and I'll tell you what was even more ridiculous is the response, because Elon had sort of taken. I think he took that clip. He made a couple other comments of like, this can't be allowed, and the counter argument was, "Hey, asshole, you bought Twitter." And, the implication being that he took control of, basically the world's town hall. And yeah, he did. And I will die on this fucking hill, and still no one has presented any evidence to the contrary, but he bought Twitter, now X, to save it, to keep the free speech element alive and well. I'll tell you what, I can say anything on X I want to. And X might give me a little cautionary, hey, you might not want to post this, but I still have the option. I can still post it. I pick fights all the time. I say shit to people all the time, particularly the climate idiots. But he did it to save and to keep it a free and open discussion. Soros has a fucking agenda. That's the difference, guys.
Well,
he has an agenda and he's going to push it.
And let's not forget, he's from Hungary.
Right.
Okay? It's total outside interference. It's bothersome. It's absolutely, it's nothing this guy does is good. It is all nefarious shit, whether he's financing BLM or financing the Palestinian alleged protest movement. Nothing this guy does is good, period. So the fact that he's going to have access to 220 radio stations and he can dictate what is going to make it on the news, what's going to make it on the radio, it's bad enough that we have to put up with stuff from NPR, which is shady as fuck.
Yeah. Which gets government funding, by the way.
Yeah. And this is
Like,
getting
how is that
government
okay?
push through. How does this
Right.
work?
Well, it just shows you that, I mean, God damn it, dude. The first time I heard Trump talking about draining the swamp and the deep state, I mean, I've always been reticent to trust the government. That's just my nature. After 9/11, I definitely had reason to question the government and why the fuck are we in Iraq and in the Middle East? Like certainly it's not to clear out terrorists because we're making billions off all the oil. So I've always had that level of, but when Trump came in and he's like, there's a deep state, and I laughed. I audibly laughed at him. And now I'm eating my fucking laughs daily.
Same here.
Now it's like, clearly there is a deep state. Clearly there is an agenda. Clearly there is a, military industrial complex. I know that that term's been thrown around too much. It's been overused, but clearly it's there. And the powers that be are fighting to make that happen. And Trump wants no wars. He's come out and said, my goal is to make peace everywhere with everyone. I'll make a deal with Putin. I'll make a deal with Israel. I'll make a deal with, Hezbollah or whomever to make sure that these wars stop and we can make it beneficial for everybody. They don't want that. Of course they don't want that. So they're doing all the soft, the sort of soft coercion, that let's assault his character. Let's make fun of him. Let's make him look like a piece of shit. All those soft things. Well, now we've seen that they've gotten to the part where they're in the hard version of that, where they've tried to assassinate him arguably twice now. For sure once. Twice, maybe. So it's like he is a threat. I mean, we're going back to, and God damn it, I can't believe I'm about to fucking say this. But it's true. We are going back to November of 1963 right now. 62. No, it was 63, wasn't it? When they assassinated JFK, 63.
Yep.
JFK, his whole behind the scenes game plan was to take down the FBI and the CIA. He was going to expose them for all of the corruption that they had been doing for the last 25 years since the end of World War II. And they killed him for it. And there's considerable evidence that that's what happened. Here we are in 2024, and you can't compare Trump to JFK, not in personality, but for what they stand for what they're trying to do, it's eerily similar. And I really hope it doesn't end the way it did back in 63. I really do.
Well, it won't, because the new threat is Iran's going to take him out. And
with a bunker buster?
No, Fitz. They've snuck surface-to-air
Oh,
missiles in.
surface
to
to
the
air.
country.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. I forgot about this.
So
forgot
they're going
about
to take
the,
out Trump Force One.
Oh,
How-
yeah. Okay. Yeah.
How
Yeah,
did
this is a
we
legit
get
story.
here to the point? Okay, who the fuck is buying this shit? You had a shooter in Crooks, which, okay, that's suspect. Then you've got
The
this
dude was
Routh
wearing
guy.
cargo shorts.
He was wearing
He was wearing
cargo
cargo
shorts.
I'm sorry. I wore cargo shorts today. I'm not a fucking shooter.
I wear cargo shorts, but I'm
Yeah.
I'm a middle-aged dad. So what do you?
And I'm telling you
go
right
fuck
now,
yourself.
I'm telling you right now, not one member of SEAL team, of Rangers, of JSOC, those guys don't wear cargo shorts when they're on a mission. They just don't.
Not typically. Not typically.
No, they don't. Nope.
No. I mean, they could if they wanted to, but no.
Sure, but they don't.
Let's. Stacey Plasket might. Here you go.
What is the
Do we really
point
have to listen
of
to
this
this?
subcommittee? Because it's necessary for the public and the media to hear, to try and provide cover for the eradication of the Department of Justice and the FBI. We are having these hearings so that you become immune. You become inured to the notion of the removal of the FBI and DOJ, so that those agencies are no longer there to serve as a check against white nationalism, great replacement theorists, Christian nationalists, white fragility, fascists, and the twice impeached convicted felon, former president and would-be dictator, Donald Trump.
Don't tell me my lawfare is bad. This is just this is just to water down what's going on. You're just trying to complicate things. You and you whistleblowers. Why is she even? Where does she even get to be a delegate? Why does it have? Why? It's the Virgin Islands. It's not a fucking state. What?
No.
Why does she get to be in this? Why?
Yeah, why does she get time on a mic? I mean, for what? Like, seriously, I want to know her credentials. Why the Virgin Islands get a voice in any of this? I mean, I guess technically there's American citizens in the Virgin Islands, so you get a vote, but that doesn't mean that you get to. I mean, what's the population of the fucking Virgin Islands? It's not even the population of Eugene, Oregon. Like, fuck off. I don't get a voice. Yeah, when, like, she's throwing around a bunch of buzzwords there. Whatever. If you're gonna evoke that sort of discussion, that sort of visceral attack, I would say, white fragility. Okay, I guess you could argue that. White nationalism. Okay. Trump. Yeah, he's got a certain type of follower who's very ardent and who probably wears a trucker hat. But what was concerning to me there was that she talked about Christian nationalism.
Oh yeah.
She evoked religion. You are now blurring the lines between church and state.
Absolutely.
And that is something we don't do here. You fucking moron.
Well, she did that. She attacked the middle class because that's part of what that attack was.
Yes,
she
it
definitely
was.
went after
Yep.
men. Okay. And
Yep.
she's just a cunt. I'm sorry.
Yep.
There's no better way of saying it. And she did go after religion, and they will do anything they could possibly do. And it's a very common Democrat tactic to go ahead and attack the church and attack anybody who's right leaning, period. And that's exactly what she did. Now, here's the thing. This may be what she doesn't want to hear. This is a whistleblower. This is Marcus Allen, a former FBI staff of operations specialist.
They're fearing what Donald Trump would do in the next administration while they sit here and they look at the guy who's been persecuted by the FBI. And everybody in the room understands it. Mr. Allen, do you have comments you wish to make? I'll give you about a minute and a half, and then I want to turn the rest of my time to Mr. Jordan.
Yes, sir. I would just say that I consider the hearing today my last act of service as a public servant for the United States of America. And I'll give you my professional opinion. I was an intel professional for our country for many years, and I would give recommendations, and I'd also look at indications and warnings. So I would offer this to the American people as my warning to them. Since this is a warning to the American people, I say, I personally have no confidence that the FBI will rein in its own conduct. I've been persecuted along with Garrett, Steve and Kyle, and countless other whistleblowers. It is my opinion that the Bureau used reprisal and fear to control the workforce. It has been a seemingly effective tactic. I personally believe that there are no current effective checks and balances against them conducting lawless action with any type of correction in a legitimate time frame. I welcome the work of the IG, but I think any type of lawless action, there's no legitimate time frame to rein them back in. Their ability to overclassify information can allow them to stonewall forever. To the American people, you have a duty as a citizen to vote, and I strongly urge you to do so. It's how you participate in the American experience. I know people have doubts about election integrity, but you must vote. It is your claim. Stake your claim and don't forfeit it willingly. Have your voice heard. My other recommendations are in the natural order. First, vote. The second is the Second Amendment. Arm yourself and know how to defend yourself. Make 3 to 4 friends in your neighborhood and promise to come to each other's mutual aid in times of hardship. And during the Great Depression, people stocked up a pantry. So I think that's a good practice, especially in our economic times, and make sure you have 3 to 4 months of food. And as a person of faith, I'd say pray the rosary, go to the First Friday devotions. That's for everybody, all my brothers and sisters of all faiths, and I know I'm Catholic, and read the gospel of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, and live it every day. And that's all I have to say. Thank you for the time.
You know, Mr. Allen, the fact that there are servants like you who have borne up under persecution that a lot of political leaders in this country do not care about is the thing that heartens the American people, and I'm confident the American people will resolve the situation.
That's the kind of person that Plasket doesn't want to hear from.
Yep. Yeah, and
that should
kind
be
of
concerning.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say is that's kind of a kind of a doggy downer, you know, a bit of a dire warning. And yet he said it with, well, for sure conviction, also very matter-of-factly. Like it wasn't like, hey, maybe this might, or hey, you know, what if? He was like, here's my advice as a fucking professional. Yeah, it's gonna happen, and you should probably have 3 to 4 months worth of food. Which, if you don't already, why not? Now's the time. I mean, and look, government coup, martial law, all of that aside, just look what's happening in Tennessee, North Carolina, what happened in Florida. If you aren't prepared on some level, please get there. Just buy the extra flashlight, get yourself a medical kit, have some extra medication on hand, get some food, stuff that you can throw in a car and evacuate if you have to. If you're not doing these things at this point, really, we can't feel sorry for you. That's on you now. But this guy, that considering what his job was, what his career was for the last, what did he say, 15 years? 12 years?
Something like that.
I mean, listen up, guys. There and he's one of a long line of people that have been saying this for a long time. So, at what point do you sit up and go, we should probably take notice? It's a big deal.
It just still blows me away that we do have elements of the government that don't want to hear from whistleblowers. We've gone past that point. You go back
Snowden.
Snowden was run out of town on a rail. The the good old days of the Aaron Brockoviches are over.
Yeah.
Right. And we're now dealing with a narrative-driven society, a government that drives a narrative and just won't tolerate. And the people like Plasket, who's never going to amount to anything other than a delegate from fucking Virgin Islands, the fact that she gets any kind of airtime is sickening.
It really is.
Eric Adams was indicted this week. I think we kind of saw this one coming from a mile away, but
oh yeah.
What's your take on this one? Because this was, I think there's a lot of ways that we can look at and go, yeah, this is kind of fucked.
Yeah, I think the most obvious thing here is, and I'm extrapolating this from the way that he was talking in the few press conferences that he did after the indictment, or at least, when it was like, oh shit, this is coming. I think he clearly had approval, if not encouragement, to do these things. I think he was encouraged to act the way he did, and he was encouraged with the caveat that, hey, if you do these things for us, there will be these payoffs. Well, at some point he deviated from the plan, and or he just was unwilling to do something that someone wanted him to do. And so now they're just hanging him out to dry with all the shit that he did that they asked him to do. And he did it with their blessing, and now it's coming back to bite him. And I mean, the accusations it's weird. It's he he did some favors for Turkish Airlines, of all things. And then he got free vouchers and free flights for himself, his
free
staffers,
upgrades.
his family. Yeah, free upgrades.
This is the equivalent of you and I doing a solid for somebody on Southwest Airlines. It was so ridiculous.
Exactly. It is ridiculous. And yet they have him on the hook for, I think it was $10 million the last I saw.
Yes. They've got $10 million is what they're at right now.
So I mean, my take is, for whatever reason, he's not with the company plan. And so he's being outed. And we can get to this later, but his replacement is a fucking psychopath.
He's a nightmare.
He's a woke nightmare. That's a great way to put it. And so it's like, hey, if you're not going to follow the program, we'll get rid of you. I mean, this is mob level shit, dude.
Oh, absolutely. And they're not good at it either. They're not smooth like the mob was.
No. Exactly.
This is just like shitty mafia. This is the worst, the worst movie script ever.
This is government funded mafia, which is like,
it is. It's completely inefficient, absolute bullshit.
Yeah. Right. Waste of money. Yeah. Anyway, I feel bad for the guy because he's clearly too stupid to have seen this coming. They promised him the world and he was like, cool, I'm going to take it. Whatever you want, sir. And then he just turns out to be just a fucking patsy, basically. So I kind of feel bad for him. But also what a piece of shit. So fuck off. I mean, that's how I feel.
Well, okay. So a couple months back, well, we've hammered on this jackass like a lot, like a lot.
How could you not?
But I guess we didn't realize, though, as he was taking the trips, when he started first coming out not against, because he still allowed all the illegals to come into New York and stay there. He didn't. It wasn't a thing. Right. But he started pushing back. Hey, guys, like, I don't think we can't keep this up.
Yeah.
Guys, I'm going to go to Washington and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to talk to Biden myself. And he never even got to talk to Biden. I mean, the door was closed in his face. He never even fucking got here.
He talked to some press secretary.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, and then that starts happening. And then 2 weeks ago, they started, there was a release that went out that they were going to go ahead, New York was going to go ahead and pay immigrants, illegal immigrants, $4,000 a head to leave shelters because it was costing, the New York government like ridiculous amounts of money. Right after they started doing that, that's when the hammer dropped on them.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah, I mean, that was his whole, 10,000 immigrants a month are coming into New York City speech. And we can't sustain this. That was that speech. I mean, that's immediately when the tides turned on him. And, the thing is, you make a deal with the devil, like, there's hell to pay at the end of that. That road does not lead anywhere but bad. I mean, that's why you don't make the deal with the devil. I mean, unless, you're planning on being willing to pay the consequences. I mean, there it is. There you go.
So I think we can go ahead and say that this is a common theme in most cities across America, the connection between immigration and how it's being treated, right? California, Colorado, Utah, Ohio, all of these places have been inviting in immigrants, and they've obviously gotten an incredible amount of money to go ahead and deal with it. I don't think it's far-fetched to say that if somebody steps out of line, you're going to see this exact same business. I think heads are actually going to roll if anybody gets out of line. So if this wasn't a shot across the bow for everybody else to stay on point and not make any waves through the election, I don't know what was.
Dude, this is the mayor of New York City. I mean, you are so spot on with that. This is like, hey, you are not untouchable. We can take down the mayor of New York, of the largest city in America. One of the largest cities on the planet. We can take him out, no problem. So what the fuck are you going to do? Get with the program. I mean, this also screams of wild desperation because he was a company man, right? He was bought and paid for, right? And now it's like, well, we got to get rid of some of our top brass because we are so wildly off the fucking reservation here. We don't know what else to do. So heads just have to start rolling. I mean, this is like Game of Thrones level shit. Like people start doing desperate things because they don't know what else to do. Nothing else makes sense. So fucking chop Ned Stark's head off. Why? Let's do it. Fuck it.
That's what it looked like.
Let's see what happens. Yeah. I mean, and here we are. And it's like, you are cutting off your own hands here. I mean, there's no recourse to this. There's no way back. Do you think that this next fuckface that's coming in is going to have any credibility as a mayor, as a leader, as someone who is going to get any votes? I mean, is this Kamala part due? Like, this guy was never elected, never voted into anything, and he's just being placed in a position of power and having influence over hundreds of millions of people. What the fuck? Not okay.
Well, it doesn't matter because he's a socialist and he's going to be just fine with the Democratic Party. Jumaine Williams is the New York City public advocate who would be taking his place. Background: born on May 11th, 1976, Williams is an American activist and politician. He graduated from Brooklyn College with a Bachelor of Arts in Political Science and later earned a Master of Arts in Urban Policy and Administration. Political career: before becoming the public advocate, Williams served as a member of the New York City Council from the 45th District from 2010 to 2019, representing several neighborhoods in Brooklyn, including East Flatbush, Flatlands, Marion Park, and Midwood. Political stance: he identifies as, I love how they say it, he identifies as a democratic socialist and has been known for his activism, particularly in areas like housing rights, police reform, and gun violence prevention. Williams has been an outspoken critic of the NYPD's stop and frisk policy and has pushed for significant reforms in policing and community safety. Public activist role. As a public activist, Williams acts as a watchdog over city government, can introduce legislation to the city council but does not have a vote, and is first in line to become acting mayor if mayor resigns or is incapacitated. So let's go back to Kamala, communist Kamala, and what a great way to go to get socialism really entrenched by making New York City Gotham.
God damn, dude. That's exactly what it feels like. Exactly. I've been doing some research on communism. Because it seems to be this theme that runs through, the left is calling the right communists and the right is calling the left communists. And I mean, I know about communism from the, failed state of Russia. China is sort of making a go at it, although they have a free economy because otherwise they wouldn't be so prosperous. Yeah, I mean, North Korea is clearly a failed experiment. But like communism as a philosophy, I guess, is what I've been doing my research on, and Karl Marx specifically. And I guess I just didn't. I didn't realize, I didn't put it together. Karl Marx was a German, and he wrote all of his philosophy based on what he thought the German people should do. And it's what, fueled Hitler and really brought him to power was these concepts of, not having the government rule the people, but the people ruling themselves sort of was the ultimate goal. And I think as a philosophy, if you take it to its, greatest possibility, communism actually sounds beautiful. It's like this utopian thing. But of course, we know that in reality, people are greedy. It's
absolutely failed.
Yeah, people are dicks. Yeah, it fails every fucking time. Every fucking time.
And millions and millions and millions of people die as it's failing.
Hundreds of millions. And so the more I guess my point is, the reason I brought this all up, the more I delve into it and really start to pull apart what Marx was trying to say, I can tell you right now, Kamala Harris is a Marxist communist. Biden was definitely well, he is now. He didn't used to be. Remember, he was all about segregated schools back in the 80s when he first got elected to Congress. Yeah, he's a fucking So, but he's now a communist. Eric Adams, all these like high level people in the Democratic Party, what they're saying is quoted from Marx.
Yep.
Quoted from Lenin. Quoted from these. Yes. And so you can call Trump a communist. You can say that the right is a communist party, but nothing that any of those people are doing is communist in nature or
nothing to
lends
do with
itself.
No,
lends itself to Marxism at all. And so it's funny that these terms get slung around and people who don't know the difference are like, yeah. Okay, I'll believe. And
absolutely.
But so educate yourself. Go do the deep dive, because once you do, you realize, holy shit, it's kind of scary what the Democrats are saying out there right now. It's scary.
And their cult just laps it up. They just lap it up. They trust the government. They trust that everything's going to be okay. They think all of this is open borders are fucking wonderful. They think it's fucking great that we're going to have, just tax the shit out of me and just ram it home. It's almost as though they all want to get pegged. Just repeatedly. just fuck me and fuck me and fuck me again.
Yep.
And that's what they sign up for. Every time I post something and some liberal comes across and I'm telling you, this is coming from so far out of left field. There is no logic anymore, Fitz.
No.
There isn't.
No.
There's no more logic. It is all emotion. It's all vitriol. It's all, I'm scared as fuck. I'm a little boy. I'm a little girl. Just, you're bad. Go away. I don't want to think about this. Just lead me. And this is just absolute. It is horrendous. And yeah, we're looking at a communist nation. We are seriously looking at a communist nation.
Well, and there was a lot of, I mean, let's face it straight up. There were a lot of Nazi sympathizers in the 1920s, late 20s, early 30s here in this country, particularly, and I know this is going to be shocking to everyone, but particularly in the big cities, New York, Chicago, LA, DC. There were huge Nazi sympathizer groups. I mean, they called themselves the American Nazis. And they were all about this socialist view. And I understand the pull. I understand the love that you might have for the idea that is communism, which is get rid of the rich, bring up the poor, everybody's equal. But in practice, that's not how it works.
No.
And even in Russia, which was the most successful communist country ever, period. China's rivaling now, but Russia at its peak was amazing. They rivaled the United States. We were scared of them. We did drills under our fucking desks because of the threat of Russia. But they had government corruption like you wouldn't fucking believe. The rich just got richer, the poor just got poorer, and the middle class struggled to make it. Hey, doesn't that sound familiar? Where are we at right now in America?
Exactly.
That's exactly where we're at. Crazy.
Yeah, we're not far off from it. And it's being, in the wool coat.
Yeah.
That's being shoved down people's throat is, well, it's democracy.
Right.
It's not fucking democracy. That's not what this is.
We're a representative republic. Period.
We just need to act. We need to fucking act like it.
Yep.
Ryan Routh's weird bounty note fits. We got to get into this because
I love that this is it. Also, look very carefully where this was released. I mean, let's get to it, but it was heavily pushed on NPR, CNN, New York Times, Washington Post, all of your frequent flyers. That's where this got pushed. That tells you everything you need to know about this letter.
And it all dropped at once again.
All at the same time. You bet.
All the left media had it. It dropped at the same time. And it honestly, the way it looked like, it was a beckoning. It was a beckon call.
Yeah, it was.
This was an assassination attempt on Donald Trump, but I failed you. I tried my best and gave it all the gumption I could muster. It is up to you now to finish the job, and I will offer $150,000 to whomever can complete the job. That was the note that was delivered to a buddy of his, apparently, along with a box and some other stuff that went to him. But the interesting thing there was that we were not able to get the Tennessee trans shooters manifesto.
Nope. No way.
For months. In fact, it just recently came out.
The shooting in Texas.
Yeah, you can't get anything else. No. But suddenly, this one miraculously made it right out all of the news agencies all at once. Everybody had it. Hey guys, 150 grand on Trump's head. Go shoot him. That's what that was. That is what that was. And you can't tell me at this point that this felt rigged before. It looks blatantly rigged now.
Yeah. I don't know. How could you think anything else? Also, didn't we play a couple of clips last week on last week's show about how this guy was doing videos from Ukraine about how fucking poor he was, about how he couldn't afford food, and we're all just out here. We're relying on your donations, and now a fucking letter comes out that he's going to offer $150,000. Who listening to this show right now has $150,000 to pay someone to go kill somebody? Who? Nobody. None of us. So he was starving, but he was saving up for this? I mean, it's absurd. It's absurd.
But isn't it a great tool, though? Because the same week, like a day later, I think, his son gets indicted and taken to jail for child porn.
Yeah.
All of this stinks. This reeks.
All of it. And because his son knew the actual truth, his son would have at least known that he was a CIA recruit, or that he had met with FBI. Right. That he would have at least known some little nugget where we could have all been like, ooh, Leonardo DiCaprio meme. We were pointing at the TV. Ooh, I just saw it. Yep, that's it. But hey, if you just indict this guy and find some hard drives in his house, planted or not, with child porn on it, not only does he go to prison, like I alluded to earlier in the show, not only does he go to prison, but he's now a target.
Oh,
so either he's in solitary his entire time, or he goes into general pop and he gets shivved because he's a pedophile. Because I'm telling you, those guys don't put up with it. They don't put up with it.
No.
They have ways to take care of you if you fuck kids or you look at kids. Yeah. So either way, he's fucked.
That was a big one for the week.
Yeah.
You gotta keep your head on a swivel. We tell you guys this all the time. You gotta watch the timing of events. What's coming out after other events happen. So we were talking about earlier, just to kind of reflect on it. Trump's, the second assassination attempt happened. 23andMe board just fucking disappears. They're like, I'm out of here. I gotta go.
All but one. Yeah.
All but one.
Yeah.
And then then Diddy goes into jail, right? And now you've got this Ryan Routh stuff. You start putting stuff together. It's not crazy. There's a thread there, and a lot of it's disinformation, a lot of it's diversion, distraction of the week kind of stuff. But when you start looking at some of this, there's messages that are sent, and that was a bounty that was sent. It was very clear.
Yeah. Yeah.
And mainstream media was happy to go ahead and print it.
Yeah, I think this is one thing that we do on this show that I'm not saying we're the only ones out there, finding the obscure shit or making links between this and that. What I don't hear on other shows and very popular shows, and I'm not saying we're better. I'm just saying what we focus on and what we do is we connect the dots. We pull that thread. We pull on that thread and we find what all the connections are. And I just don't hear that on a lot of other shows. I'll hear Rogan, rattle off a bunch of facts about this, that, and the other thing, but he never is like, but because of this fact, and that means this has to be true, and that means this links to this, and they don't do that. And I feel like we do that really well on this show, maybe nobody cares other than the people who listen to this show, but I think it's important because there are no isolated events. There never were, but there especially aren't now. Every event you see is connected on a web of like an ecosystem, like if a frog dies, you have to know that he's connected to like 16 other living creatures in that bog because he died or why he died or whatever. And so we are all so interconnected. There are strings to every event. And I honestly, dude, I think we're just scratching the surface, and yet we're the only ones doing it to the level we're doing it. So
I would agree with that.
Yeah, tune into more. Because there's more coming, for sure.
Let's see. Biden-Harris Department of Justice sues to keep illegals on voter records. Alabama, this broke today. Justice Department sues Alabama for violating federal laws prohibiting on systematic efforts to remove voters within 90 days of an election. So I'll go ahead and cut this straight to the chase. Alabama finds that they have a shit ton of illegal voters on their rolls. They go to try and remove them.
Yep.
Which is a problem. The Biden-Harris Department of Justice says, nope, we're going to sue you to put them back on. There's your story.
Yeah.
It doesn't even be any more plain than that.
Under what law? Right? I mean, under what pretense are you filing this how are you suing? What are you suing against?
Well, their thought is you're not allowed to update the voter rolls within 90 days of the election.
Okay. But I'm saying what law says that? I don't
know.
And you know what? Here's the crazy thing is it doesn't even matter because it's now tied up in the courts. And by the time it gets sorted out, November will have come and gone. The elections will have happened. It won't matter. So
I'm sure they'll rush it. I'm sure they'll rush it. But I wouldn't be surprised if that makes it all the way up to the Supreme Court, though.
Of course. And when will that happen? 2025, 26, 27? I mean,
maybe. As long as they stay off the rolls, I'm happy with that.
Okay, but the repercussion is it won't make a difference. They'll fight to get those voters on. And then it'll have to be appealed. That's what I'm saying. Is they're going to get their way, and we can't do anything about it until years later.
How the hell did we get here? The Department of Justice wants illegal voters on their rolls. How the fuck did we get here? How is this okay? In what world is this okay? I don't know. Jefe,
I don't know either.
What world is this okay?
Wayne's World?
Wow.
Wayne's World. Wayne's World. Good answer, man. Good answer. I'll accept that.
Way to bring the heat. You ready for your farm report?
I'm ready. Go. All right. Well, it's kind of a special farm report. I mean, you guys know, as everyone listening in the chat, we like to have fun here at the farm report, right?
Absolutely.
That's what it's all about.
Yeah.
God
then, of course, being educated on all things farm and animal related. Well, tonight, and I knew it would happen sooner or later, we're dealing with a subject that really kind of hits close to home.
Okay.
In fact, in the farm report pre-show meeting, I got very emotional.
Okay.
Did you?
I did.
Okay.
I wasn't sure I'd be able to go through with it, but I'm going to give it a shot. Tonight's subject is boobs.
Oh God. I just got choked up.
Whether you're a woman who has them or a man who's fondling them,
wants them.
We've all wondered, what is the mass of these breasts in terms of animals, right?
Uh-huh.
Oh my God.
Well, you're about to find out.
Oh boy.
You ready?
All right. Yeah.
Oh,
lined
yeah.
up. Yep. Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Could
So we
not be more ready.
we'll start with the small ones because all breasts are breasts. An A cup is about the equivalent of 2 chipmunks. B cup is the equivalent of 5 cockatiels. C cups is about the equivalent of 1 newborn polar bear cub. D cups, Jefe's favorite, is about the equivalent of 1 Wigone duck.
A Wigone duck.
Yes.
No less.
E cups, also Jefe's favorite, is the equivalent of 1 Netherland dwarf rabbit. And the F cups is the equivalent of 1 3-month-old Persian kitten. And that's your farm report.
I want to know what the what the equivalent is to 1 Fitz.
That I don't know. I mean, you're an A cup. Oh, you mean? Oh, right.
No, I mean, I'm saying I'm definitely an A cup, but I'm saying like, what would be my equivalent on a woman, right? I would assume that would be a lot. I mean,
yeah, I think so.
Like if you were strapped onto a woman?
Yeah, exactly.
That was
kind of want to see that now.
That was brought to us by Japan. Go figure. Japanese
Japan
brand
did that?
Japanese branch of a U.S. lingerie company called Genie.
Dude, that actually is not surprising at all.
No.
The fucking Japanese are so fucking weird.
Oh my god, that is seriously the best farm report you have ever done.
Hands on tits, the best ever.
Beer to Liberty. I love that Jefe has gone full Norm Macdonald with the farm report delivery.
Yes.
You did really well with that. You totally hot. The punchline is like, wow, we're just ramped up and now it's awful. This is just wow.
Yeah.
Jesus. All right.
I mean the wide range of animals there, from Persian kittens to Wigone ducks.
Yeah.
Well, I've got Wigone ducks up on the screen right now, and
yeah, you do.
I could handle a handful of them.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'd feel them up from bill to butt.
Oh, yeah.
I think they're North American.
Does it matter?
Well, I'm just saying they're easy access to you guys.
Oh,
so we can find them. Okay, good.
Yeah,
right.
God damn
I don't know why this story is coming to mind, but you will both appreciate this. Jefe, you were there, so you can corroborate this story. But in our last year of high school, we had a club volleyball team, Scottsdale Elite, and we were practicing in the gym, and the girls were practicing on the other court, and I believe they were playing club at the time too. I think it was club team. Anyway, I was starting to date a certain young lady who was a couple years younger than me, and she was probably, what would you say, the duck size, Jefe? She was D cup.
Yeah.
Maybe, I mean, large C, small D.
Right.
And our coach Harold, I was making eyes across the court. We were flirting across the court. We were She was on another court, and we were just, doing this stupid high school dumb shit. And Harold kind of caught me, he was all about the ladies, but he was like, when we're in practice, you're going to fucking practice. You're going to work for me. So he caught me fucking around, and he's like, what are you doing? And I was like, oh, I'm sorry. I that's my girlfriend over there. He's like, you're dating that? He goes, do you even know what to do with those? And it was just such a Harold thing to say, because I honestly didn't know what to do with them at the time. I was not even 18, and she was younger than that. And so, no, I was like, no, not really. And he just started laughing. He's like, get the fuck back to work. Come on. What are you doing?
What did her name start with?
Oh, her last name was Black.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. She was the hottest girl in school's little sister.
Yes.
Yeah. And that girl went on her older sister went on to marry a very famous country singer.
Very well. Yeah. She did very well for herself.
She did very well for herself because she was that kind of hot.
Yep.
But the younger sister was cute and funny and had huge, giant, biggest
Ducks.
I've ever dated. Yeah, ducks.
Yes.
Yeah. And had a lot of fun playing around on that playground. But anyway, that story just came to mind because he was like, "Do you even know what to do with those?" I was like, "No, I don't. I have no idea."
Looking back on that,
honest though.
I think we had the wrong girls. I
think so. I think you're right. I think you're right. I think you should have had mine. I should have had yours.
Yep.
At that time.
At that time.
Yep. Well, excellent farm report, Jefe. You definitely saved the show because McShane and I came in a little cold tonight. We warmed up. The 13.8% that I'm drinking right now definitely helped. But you pulled us out of the chilly waters. We're now standing next to the fire. So thank you.
It is my pleasure.
And thank you to Aaron, Beard of Liberty, Justin, L, Lisa, Tabby, and Mike, all for keeping us in check tonight too. So we appreciate that also.
For sure.
Oh boy. Well,
you know what I forgot to do tonight?
What's that?
What?
Change your underwear.
Close.
Okay. Now I'm afraid.
Fair enough.
Go ahead.
He just audiosed us? No, he didn't.
No, I'm here.
No, he didn't. No, he's still here.
Did he just Irish goodbye us real quick? You know what I
What
forgot
did
to
you
do?
forget to do?
Click.
I just hit that spot. I forgot to put on deodorant tonight.
Oh yeah, that is close.
Oh, so you've got your manly musk going.
Indeed.
All right. Well, the
It's a
ladies
good
should still
thing.
enjoy that.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's a good thing I'm not in the neighborhood. You know how I love that musk.
Yes.
Yes.
Hey, Jefe, next week is the big move for Fitz's mom. Are you going to be around?
I will be around. Are we doing a show?
I don't know that I don't think we're going to get a show done next week just because there's going to be so much going on. And they're going to be traveling on Saturday night. So that's going to be really hard since they're going to be on the road. But we may be able to get together on Friday and Saturday morning-ish, maybe. So
yeah. Yep.
We might still be able to get something out. We'll see.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll see. There's some possibilities there. I think there's an opportunity to make a kind of unique, maybe a little bit weird but unique show. So I don't know. McShane and I decided to skip next week, and now I'm kind of second guessing that. So let's keep talking.
All right, we're not going to force it, but if there's anything anybody has any ideas, we're open to a lot of ideas. I just don't know we're going to be able to do a live like we typically do, just because that's just going to be tough next Saturday. So we'll have to see.
Yep, we'll see.
All right, Jefe, you going back to work?
Yeah, I guess I'll go back in.
All right. Well, we'll talk to you later. We're going to wrap things up here, okay?
All right,
All
boys.
right, brother. Can't wait to see you, man.
All right.
Hey, man.
We'll see you.
Looking forward to it. See you.
All right. Later.
All right, Fitz. You obviously had an amazing beer that was your sex beer for tonight. So I'm assuming that's the one you're going to bed with.
Oh, God, yes. The first beer was just, just that easy girl that you don't have to. I mean, she wants it more than you do. So you're just kind of along for the ride. Definitely fun and worth, worth talking about. But this girl, this Kill the Sun. This is the one that you pursue for months if that's what it takes, right? This is Helena of Troy, right? This one's going to launch 1,000 ships. You pursue her for as long as she needs pursued, because you know that the nectar, the payoff at the end of that journey is going to be worth it. And that's how I feel right now. I feel like my journey to find this beer, to buy it, to pour it, to find a worthy glass and to drink it, it's all been worth it. And I get to do it live with like some of my closest friends. So fantastic fucking beer is what I'm trying to say. So good. Almost in that epic realm, because it's really easy to fuck up a barrel-aged stout. I mean, you can go too heavy on any one thing. Right. It's just it's perfectly balanced. It's a fucking seesaw with two fat kids on each end. It's just my God. I would not take anything away or add anything to this beer. It's just phenomenal. So what about you? Perfect beer. What are you taking to bed?
I love both of these beers. I really do. And I'm gonna have to see. These are the kind of beers that I'm super proud of, and I would be happy to go ahead and send those cross country. So I'm gonna go ahead and try and score a few more of those before we come back. But I gotta go with the pineapple strawberry habanero, and it's close though.
Okay, nice.
It was a little bit lighter. It wasn't quite as thick as the apple donut one, but I loved the contrast between the pineapple strawberry and a little bit of heat at the very end. It was just a very imaginative beer, just really fun. Just really appreciated it.
Yeah,
Energy
very
City.
fun.
I'm super stoked about those guys, and that was a Berliner Weiss. It wasn't a straight up sour. Just a very unique beer.
You know what I love? I love that their name is Energy City, and they bring energy to their beer. Like, it'd be funny if they were like Energy City and they just put out a bunch of Bud Lights and, a Guinness. No, they're like, no, we're going to try some new shit, and we're going to bring energy to everything we do. I love that. That's great.
Yeah. Very, 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 very cool shit.
Yep.
All right. That is going to wind things up. We appreciate you guys listening. Thank you to everybody who was in chat tonight. Beer to Liberty, Aaron, Justin, L, Lisa, Tabby, and Mike. Everybody who couldn't be here. Jay, thank you for the new cut
of the
sex
so
beer
good.
for Fitz.
Yes.
That was clutch.
Thank you, Jay.
Appreciate it.
So good.
If you guys want to follow us on X, it is at whiskey_hell, whiskeyhellpod at gmail.com is the email. Who the fuck does email anymore? whiskeyhellpod.com is the website. You can check us out there. Instagram, TikTok, we're all over the place. Go check us out. I'm Steve McShane.
I'm Fitz.
Think critically.
Act accordingly.
We'll talk to you soon.